Hello everyone and welcome to SunUp. I'm Lyndall Stout. We begin today talking about nitrogen application with Dr. Brian Arnall, our precision nutrient management specialist. And Brian, let's kind of start with an overview of what's been going on for producers the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've had decent growth the last couple of weeks. The wheat's really starting to kind of green up and move. It's time where people are top dressing and think about top dressing. As you see right now, we had a great rain coming in, and there's a lot of producers in the northwest and central part of the state that were able to get their nitrogen on ahead of the rain. But as we move across, a lot of our state, we're still too wet to get out there. And I'm feeling that the producers are thinking they're starting to get under a time crunch and worrying about getting nitrogen on. One of the things we got to keep in mind is that we're okay on time. A lot of our research of recent looking at how late and when do we apply nitrogen says we still have plenty of time, even though we're getting closer to that hollow stem. So as we're down in the southern part of the state where it's just been too wet to get on, or as we look in the north part of the state where it rained now and we have wet soils, my recommendation is don't rush the application. Don't get out there and rut the field. We have time to make a good application on drier soil and not mess up the field. Wheat uses nitrogen most efficient near that hollow stem. So as long as we get it on around hollow stem, even if we've been deficient for a little bit, our wheat crop will catch up.
Let's talk about then, as we're waiting for this kind of the fields to dry out, the planning part of it and making some of those decisions and maybe being a little more strategic and a little more efficient. What kind of guidance do you have for folks?
So right now, a lot of the questions I'm getting are going back to source. We have some prices that are kind of shrinking, and the difference between anhydrous, urea, and UAN right now is really starting to shrink in and get a little bit tighter, meaning they're closer, and usually there's a wider gap. And so I really start looking at the cost of the fertilizer versus the efficiency of it and the efficiency of application. Anhydrous is typically a cheaper source, and those that have the capability to go in season as a top dress or even the pre-plant right now can do that, but the applicator cost is more expensive. So when the other fertilizers start getting cheaper, you start thinking about, okay, I can get the same amount of nitrogen for just a little bit more and my application cost is less. Should I go ahead with that? In many cases, the answer is yeah, you could do a urea or UAN with the application. On the urea side, we have to be careful. If our soils are still wet, so if the mesonet says the fractional soil index is above a 0.7, if we don't get rain within 7 days, our probability of losing urea nitrogen through losses is a lot higher. Our most recent research shows that even when our average daily temperatures are just above freezing, the soil temp's right about 40, if we put urea on a wet soil and it doesn't rain for 7 days, we can lose as much as 10-15 bushel of wheat. So hold that back. That's when we want to switch into a liquid UAN streamed on. Now we have a couple options with UAN. It can be streamed on, which means that you aren't doing the flat fan like we would do a herbicide and it's broadcasting little particles, but it's streaming on a thicker stream of UAN. That's really good in weather like right now, where we can get that UAN concentrated on the soil or on the residue and washed down.
Obviously a lot to think about with wheat, but not too early to kind of get your mind on summer crops as well.
Absolutely not. As the soil temps are warming up, we're getting those planters prepped and starting to roll for the corn planting and sorghum and soybean and elsewhere. So we need to make sure we have our proper nutrients in place to get those summer crops going. If you don't have a soil sample done, it's not too late to get a soil sample collected once it dries out. Make sure you go to 0 to 6 inches if you're sending it into OSU Soils Testing Lab, or to whatever your lab that you send it to recommends, whether it's 0 to 6, 0 to 7 inch depth. Look at those P&K values, look at your pH. We can't do anything about soil pH at this time really because it takes too long for the soil to react with the lime to get that pH to change. But making sure we have proper phosphorus, potassium, and all of our other nutrients in place to get that summer crop up and going, to get the best roots established and get that early season vigor going to make it through our summer is extremely important right now.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brian. A lot to think about. We'll see you again soon.